Well, Ambassador Fayomi, 8 years of Barack Obama, President of the United States, the first African American. How has that impacted on,
on Africa or
Africa and the world?
Well, coming home, Africa, let me just say immediately that what strikes me first is that he was a very good promoter of democracy, right from when he came in and went to Cairo to make his famous speech at the university there, and then all the trips he made to the African continent, Ghana, Kenya. Even when he went to President Mandela's funeral and all that, he used the opportunity to harp on good governance, on which is expected of any African leader. So democracy as a focus, and that is one of the areas where we are lacking in Africa. It tries to promote and to pinpoint specifically that, look, Africa, you need to do better. We are expecting you to do better. You have the potentials to do better, and indeed, that was a key point. And then also on issues of corruption on the African continent, he tried to make an issue out of it in any engagement that he has with our leaders, even when they go for the G20 and on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly meetings. It's that. It's like we are putting you on notice, and we want to see you. Maybe that's the African part of him, because maybe he wants inside of him that something good should come out of the continent of his father, things like that. But he did that much, on the continent here.
Professor Jibrin, right?
I think a lot of Africans in particular feel he hasn't done as much as he could have done for the continent, but that might also have been because they had unreasonably high expectation of what he could do for the continent. I think politically he faced one key challenge. He had won an election, not because he was black, but because he was seen as a new hope for the whole of America. And if he shows in his action he's in to do something for Africa, then that will affect that legitimacy he got from the huge swing in terms of politics. In that context, therefore, my suspicion, if you do counterfactual analysis, is that a white president may have done even better for Africa than Obama did. I think Ambassador has raised what he has done in terms of giving us good political and economic advice, but we also know in terms of world affairs that good advice is not worth very much. I mean, Africans knew that good governance was in their interest. Africans knew corruption was really messing up their capacity to develop. So it's not that they didn't know, but those in power didn't give a damn. So just because some other person tells them that, it doesn't really change anything in terms of their thought processes, but above all, in terms of their action. So I think his legacy for Africa would be what is expected, that he didn't come out, he didn't get to power to do something specific for the African continent. I'll be keen to see, in terms of his specific promise to Africa, African development, which is on electricity, exactly what has been achieved. I haven't seen really any significant reports about power generation due to support of the American government since he came into power. And if there isn't much to show in that arena, which is where he promised to do something concrete, then I think we'll have to make the point that, well, at the end of the day, as it could have got, but then we on the continent must continue to tell ourselves we had no basis to assume he would do better than what he did or did not do. I think that reflection should really be an impetus for us in terms of thinking new policy perspectives we can engage the new American administration with, whether it is a Clinton administration or a Trump administration. I think the African Union has not been particularly capable in terms of pursuing African interests. Our capacity to negotiate has in fact declined rather than improve over the last decade and the years of the Obama presidency. And I think we have lots of questions on how we as a continent can do more to advance our interests at the regional level, but above all at the world level.
Okay, let's look at another platform. Then the 8 years of the Obama presidency, Ambassador Keshi. That's to do with racial equality.
You know, when the history of this election is written, we will see that race played a significant part in the defeat of Hillary Clinton. At the time Obama was coming, in fact, she had not taken office when a member of, the Senate leader, Republican, swore and urged his colleagues to make sure that Obama did only one term.
Yep.
There were many people, particularly whites, who were significantly unhappy about Obama's victory. And you could see that the race relation over the last 8 years has actually, been bad. What has happened in the last couple of years, actually, is that I think the Americans need to face reality that they still need to do a lot about racism in the country. Look at the number of black people that has been killed in the last 8 years. And in spite of the pains and the agony, significant members of the National Rifle Association, who are, by the way, majority white, have refused to be reasonable to even allow a reasonable policy to ensure that those who carry gun, there are some checks and balances in what they do. So at the end of the day, I just think that while Obama initially created hope, when the reality settled down, I think there were people who did not appreciate the fact or did not take it kindly that a black man actually lived in the White House. And then don't forget, we must not forget that Donald Trump in so many ways actually also brought up this. Not only did he try to delegitimize the first black American president, he actually made so many people to believe. And there are people today in the United States who will tell you, whites, who will tell you that Obama is a Muslim working for Muslims. And then the other thing I just want to mention, which is also important, that we must not forget, is the fact, again, Donald Trump. Remember the day Donald Trump said Obama should stop walking like a black man. I mean, when you make such statements, you remind quite a number of people, particularly the whites, who probably, unfortunately, we were not opportune to see how the demographics were shaping up for us to be able to know. But I won't be surprised if significant white population actually came out, to vote in order, quote and unquote, to take their country back. Right. So race played a very big role in the last election.
All right, then. At this point, we'll return to Yaradua Center for latest developments there.
Can you say good night to us here? Good morning.
Cyril. Very interesting discussions going on here. Indeed, we are also doing our own tally. The experts I have here in this Erado Center have very interesting postulations for you. Odilin Wagbara is telling us that even though Trump is leading with 244 electoral votes, while Hillary Clinton is trailing with 209, we still have Pennsylvania with 20 electoral votes, Massachusetts with 11 electoral votes, Maryland 10 electoral votes, Rhode Island 4 electoral votes, Washington D.C. 3 electoral votes, and Delaware 3 electoral votes. All these are yet to be declared, and he is saying that he is putting it to all of us that win all the states.
No, except Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is, nobody knows because it's a swing state. But you know, Mrs. Clinton went there with the daughter, Obama went there with the wife, and so many musicians went there, Lady Gaga and some of them. You see, Obama has been...
make the Pennsylvanians to vote.
Exactly, and Obama has been phoning Pennsylvania since morning. Because they have studied the electoral map, they know where the problem lies. You see, even in 2008, we were dying minutes we almost crying because I spent 8 months in the United. But I mean, so many people who came out to campaign for Obama, you know, but at that minute we saw the swing states swung towards Obama and the election was won.
But now we have only Maryland, Pennsylvania as the only swing state.
Exactly, that's why it's tight. That's why I'm saying, you don't know the reason why they all mobilized yesterday, 2 days ago. Don't know why they all went there. And Obama has been calling them throughout even during the election. He was calling, making telephone calls, appearing on radio through telephone and talking to them and begging them. You know, so let's look at what happens.
Professor Matu, by my calculation here, by the time Hillary gets Pennsylvania with 20 electoral votes, Massachusetts with 11 electoral votes, Maryland with 10 electoral votes, Rhode Island 4, Washington D.C. 3, and Delaware 3, she will end up getting about 287 electoral votes. Is that possible?
Well, I'm very pessimistic that this is likely going to be the outcome of the election. You see, with all sense of humility as a student of political science and a professor of comparative politics, I'm not talking because I like Mrs. Clinton or because I don't like Donald Trump to win the election. I'm talking based on the figures that are available. I'm talking based on what has transpired from. It does not appear to me as if Mrs. Clinton has a chance. It is, as far as I think, getting rather very late, you know, for her for her to come back, into the race. But if she wins, I will really be very glad. But I honestly, and that's what I have been saying for a very long time, that we should try as much as possible and, you know, disassociate our sentiments with what is obtained or what should be obtained, you know, on the ground in American elections. That's my point of view. That's what I've been talking about. And what I'm saying in essence is this, that from the beginning of this race, we have been hopeful that the Democratic Party candidate wins. You know, it will appear as if she's going to, you know, take the day, and then after a little. Now, for instance, in all the swing states, about 6 or 7 of them, so far, about 90 of them have gone to 90% of them have gone the way of the Republicans. You know, so I am saying that we do not hear as commentators or as Africans who have a lot of brethren in the United States of America possess the capacity or monopoly to be able to dictate what the American voter will decide. The message that I'm getting this morning is that apparently what Donald Trump has told Americans seems to be more acceptable to them than what Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party have told them. And then I hope, like I said, in this last few minutes of the election, I do hope that what Odlim is saying will come to pass and will be the reality. And I will leave this studio very excited, very happy. But the way it stands, I am preparing my mind, I'm preparing the minds of those who are watching us that it's not total. It's not total.
Okay, now, excuse me, I have to say something. I don't know the sentiment he's talking about. Because I'm not basing it based on my personal decision. I'm basing it based on have been carefully put together here.
But how possible?
Swing states.
He did mention to us that 90%.
No, it's not true. How can you say 90%? No.
Went to Trump.
No,
How many swing states are
Now
there?
you have only Pennsylvania as a swing state.
How many
Pennsylvania has
swing states?
20 votes. 20 electoral votes. So you cannot
Excuse me. How many swing states do you have?
Calculate the swing state, then divide it by
You
100.
have about
You
6.
know how you can get 90%? Because also,
If you have,
I have the knowledge of mathematics. What I'm
scholar.
saying is this. Excuse me. Can I
Go ahead.
You see, those who are in this game, like Obama and co, they all mobilized to go to Pennsylvania. They are studying the game. They know where it boils down to. Now, I'm not. They might be wrong as I'm wrong. But you know, the word sentiment is used very wrongly.
Now let's look at this. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at Okay, let's look at the facts.
Yes.
Is it a possibility now?
Get it straight. When I use the word sentiment, I'm also very sentimentally attached.
No, but I'm not
Just like,
sentimental.
I'm not talking about you, therefore.
Okay.
I'm talking about the millions of Africans that have this sentimental attachment
Okay,
to the Democratic
let's
Party
go
and
back
its
to
candidates.
let's go back to the
Let's go back to the facts.
Yes, the facts.
Are the facts in favor of Hillary for her to be able to take Massachusetts, Maryland, Rhode Island,
Of course,
Washington,
there are blue
D.C.,
states.
and Delaware?
There are blue states.
I see.
The problem lies
In
the problem
Pennsylvania.
is in Pennsylvania. That's why I'm agitated. Because also I've told people in the United States, they say everybody's waiting for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is the game changer. And that's what I want him to understand. If Donald Trump wins Pennsylvania, he has won. If Miss Clinton wins Pennsylvania, she has won. Now what happened? Remember that in 2000, it was a game between Al Gore and George Bush. It boils down to Florida. It boils down to Florida. It boils down to Florida. Had it been that Al Gore won New Hampshire, or even one small state with 3 electoral votes, he would have won. But as soon as that who was far behind him, won that 29 states, he was able to actually win the electoral vote, even though Mr. Al Gore won the majority vote. So popular vote. So we are looking at this Pennsylvania. It is when this Pennsylvania is won, or we see that Trump is leading with certain margins, then mutual settlement will come. But I will not even use settlement if he loses, because if they are using settlement, it means that we are doing all this not based on some factual indices and things like that. They're just based on in a sort of game a game of chance. This is not a game of chance.
Okay, now let's come back to one of the facts on ground. Donald Trump is known to have said that he will not accept the results if he is not the winner.
He cannot dictate. That's a process. If he said he's not the winner, he shows why he's not the winner and why he will contest it. No, you have to show. Because if it is narrow, if the margin of error is small, you can say these social states I want us to recount, just like George Bush did in 2000. But you cannot just unilaterally say, I will not accept it. You must show why you will not accept it. So that is that. So for me, he is the person who says, unless I win. If I don't win, I will not accept. But if I win, I accept. Who does he think he is? So he will dictate who will win. If he doesn't win, we will cancel it. So that's the way.
Mato, is that very American or un-American?
That's very un-American. That's very, very un-American. That's very, very un-American. But the figures on ground and the statistics that we are seeing seems to suggest that Donald Trump is on the verge of winning this election. Now, I will leave this to you, like I said, very happy, very excited, if, otherwise becomes, the result. So, the issue now is that, quite a lot of us really have put, staked a lot of things. We will prefer that, the result, should have been otherwise than we are, receiving it this morning. But then, like I keep saying, we are not American voters, we are not Americans. We don't have, the powers to do that. Whatever they do is, of course, what we are going to suddenly come to terms with.
Excuse me, we came here to analyze. We didn't come here to vote. So my being invited is to analyze. I'm not analyzing as an American. I'm analyzing as an independent who wants to look at facts. So I don't know whether I have to be an American to analyze.
Ordinarily, you are not independent. I am not independent. You are not independent.
No, exactly. So we came here to analyze these facts.
But the issue is we are analyzing with facts. I agree with you.
Yes.
Professor Mato used the word sentiment, maybe based on the fact that it appeared even the mock voting within the Erador Center showed where the if you like, the appreciation
of the Nigerians.
But they called it mock. Did I participate in it so that I must have voted? No, but it's a mock.
But I don't think Professor Mato is saying you are not being factual.
No. You see,
don't take it personal.
No, I'm not taking it personal. I'm trying to clarify things because he's my friend anyway. He's my friend. What I want us to agree is this. Based on electoral map, based on what is blue states, what are blue states, and what are red states, and based on swing states, we are making this argument. I'm not making it based on my personal interest or my personal facts. It is the facts on the ground that even CNN is using, so many people are using. Now, so swing states that at least we were expecting that Hillary would have won. Florida, Hillary didn't win it. Ohio,
North Carolina, she didn't
win it. Ohio didn't win. So it boils down to Pennsylvania. And you ask yourself, why did all of them go to Pennsylvania on Monday? Why did all of them almost sleep in Pennsylvania? Because maybe they have already known the electoral map. They have maybe seen how it's going to happen. So they're not into Pennsylvania. So let's wait to see Pennsylvania.
Well, let's wait to see Pennsylvania. And then, of course, Massachusetts, Maryland, Rhode Island, Washington, D.C., and Delaware. But let's look at is there any possibility Hillary will accept these results?
She's a Democrat. She knows that if she loses, it will be painful because she and her husband in 1993, when the husband just won the election. You know, when the husband became a president, because he won the election in 1992. By 1993, the husband told the men and women that he wanted to see his lifetime the woman becoming president of this country. And the wife was by his side, and all smiled over him. So it is ambition. She has nursed all these years. She has played all the cards to be there, and even Monica Lewinsky case was all part of the game and things like that. Even Obama, as soon as Obama came, they all embraced Obama, worked with Obama, continue playing the card. But you know, you can't beat nation. Nation can decide no. You can be, and I've said it time without number, that Mr. Trump has all it takes to win this election. If not that he went to become a sexist and a racist. Because Americans are saying, what is happening here? We are losing all our jobs. We are becoming a third world country because all the jobs are moving to India.
Professor Mato, is there any likelihood Hillary Clinton will accept the results if she does not win?
Yeah, I'm sure she will. And that's from the basis of the statement she made, during her last campaign. Ready to build, that she's ready to build bridges, not necessarily when she becomes the president of the United States of America, but she should be ready to accept the wishes and the aspirations of the American voters. That's simple and clear, and I'm sure she's going to do it in case she loses the election.
Well, it is now that it can be either way. Sorry.
Yes. For me, if you say ask me, as an African and as a Nigerian that wants this country to become an industrial economy, from the bottom of my heart, sentiment apart, I will tell you I would like Donald Trump to win, so that he will scatter WTO. So he will scatter so many things that will benefit us. Because WTO, Mr. Clinton actually supervised, has destroyed Nigerian economy. You don't know the level it has destroyed this economy. Because dumping from China, dumping from all over the world, they suffocated our small businesses. They suffocated our textile industry. They suffocated our just name it, our canary industry. So we want that to be a playing ground that is a playing field that is beneficial to Africa, especially my country, Nigeria.
That's believing that we do something to our infrastructure.
Look, when you have oil tax, when you close your borders and be able to industrialize, infrastructure will not be a problem. The why infrastructure will not be invested Nobody is investing in infrastructure, especially the foreigners that are supposed to, because they see the return on investment is not there. Because as soon as you invest in infrastructure and the competition from overseas continue to remove businesses, then you cannot actually have the means to pay for the infrastructure, or to make the infrastructure actually help to grow the economy.
That's very interesting. Now let's talk. When we started, we very much touched on or examined the likelihood, the policies, if you like, the policy options.
Yes.
That there is for an American President Hillary Clinton or American President Donald Trump. Let's go back to those issues and see, so that our viewers can further appreciate what we said much earlier in the wee hours of this morning. And and one of them, of course, is the fact that Hillary Clinton is talking about a more inclusive economy, America first, and then the rest of the world, low taxes across the board, of course, higher taxes on the richest 1%. And this, she believes, will bring about a multiplier effect to the middle class and the lowest class.
Not multiplier, trickle off effect or trickle down effect. Anyway, let me tell you what Mrs. Clinton has that is going for her. She wants to continue with the Obama Affordable Care Act, but she has to amend it because of some case, there's some amendment.
She has to control the Senate.
What?
She has to be in control of the Senate to do that.
No, as a president of a country, you can propose amendment bill. You understand me? And if she makes, after all, Obama did not control the Senate and the House for him to get this in pass. You know, there are people in the Republican Party that if you say you are bill to them very well, they will join you. And that's why lobbying comes to play. Another one is she's going to be tougher on Wall Street enforcement. Because Wall Street, since the Glass-Steagall Act was abrogated, was repealed by Clinton, it has caused a lot of problems at Wall Street because they were now involved in self-enforcement, which has caused so many financial crises, including the 2008 Great Recession. Now, she is interested in raising taxes on the wages, which Donald Trump is saying, no, I will not raise, because if I raise tax on the wages, it means that they will not be productive, they will not create jobs. In fact, I will not raise taxes on them. But if you don't raise taxes on the wages, how do you raise enough money in order to pay for infrastructure expansion and upgrade? And especially because America is borrowing $2 billion every day in form of deficit. So she wants to reverse that so that she will have enough money to invest in education and to invest in healthcare, and also to invest in social security. Also, there is the issue of Volcker rule. Volcker was the chairman of Fed during President Carter. The Federal Reserve. Yeah, Federal Reserve. Carter and Reagan. Now, the rule says, the rule he came up with is that we impose a fee on banks that engage in speculative bets. And Mr. Trump said, no, they can go ahead. I'm not going to impose any fee on speculative bets. Ms. Clinton said part of the reform of the Wall Street is to impose high fee on speculative bets, because that is what causes economic financialization. A lot of speculation goes on without helping the small businesses. Money is not made available to small businesses, but money is made available in speculatively that goes out of America, that goes all over the world to just seek where you have higher interest rates and things like that, and invest in that, and also invest in speculative stocks and things like that. So that Ms. Clinton said, I have to democratize the Wall Street. So these are the things that are going for her.
you appear to have dwelled substantially on the economic side.
Yes.
Let's talk to the political scientists.
Okay.
Let's look at the engagement with Africa, foreign policy. Who is Africa and the developing countries going to benefit more from a President Hillary Clinton or a President Trump?
Not necessarily. You see, this is one of the issues that has continued to bedevil, the psychology of a lot of us Africans. It doesn't matter really whether it is the party or the Democratic Party. I think the central issue there is that it is the American interest that is primary. So the primacy of the American interest is what always dictates America's relation, regardless of which party. Now, let me give you an example. I keep saying this. The last 8 years when President Obama won election, the expectations in Africa were so high that this is the time that Africa is going to break through. This is the time that America will make contributions to the development, economic, political, and social upliftment of the continent of Africa. But I will tell you that if you sum up the entire programs of the Obama administration in the last 8 years and you put it in comparison with what George Bush, who has been so despised, by the Africans, you will find that there were in fact more concrete programs practically directed at intervention, on the continent of Africa than we had during Barack Obama. So this, disappointed expectation.
Particularly in healthcare?
Yeah, in several other areas. So in America, it really doesn't matter. There is this unbroken link between Africans, like I did say, the minorities generally, and the Democratic Party and whoever its candidates are in Africa. So we don't have to, it is America first. America first and America first, then any other thing else shall follow.
I agree with him. I agree with him and same time without number. When I was campaigning for Obama, I was not campaigning for Obama to solve African problems because we know we were only campaigning for Obama for you to open up that closed door for Africa, for blacks. Remember that when Martin Luther King said before he died, I have seen the promised land. I may not get there, but one day my people will get there. Obama getting to the promised land, he had opened up for so many Africans, African Americans. But you see, Obama was very strategic. You see, the first opportunity given to you, if you abuse it, you close that door permanent. Obama did not want to come and solve African problem because all eyes were on him to see how he will transform, but he couldn't have done it. Let me tell you, the establishment runs America. It's not a president of America. It's an American establishment that runs America.
Thank you.
So if the establishment runs America, an individual cannot just run
economists and political analysts. It's been very interesting having the two of you, Professor Kabir Mato, Professor of Comparative Politics. I must say, it's been very, very illuminating, educating. Now it appears that there are latest figures now. Clinton is having 215 electoral votes, while Trump is 244. It looks like she is costing towards what you just said.
Exactly.
So this is minus even Pennsylvania coming.
Yes, I know.
But it is at this point, like I said, I want to express my appreciation and NTA's appreciation to the two gentlemen for being here with us from yesterday to this morning, the 9th of November, 2016. We thought by now we should know the winner, but we are yet to know the winner. So I will now hand you over back to the American Desire Studios at the NTA headquarters, where my colleague Cyril is standing by to take us through and announce for us possibly who is the winner of the American elections. Cyril, take it from here.
All right, thank you very much, Mohammed. But like you, we're still watching the figures and seeing what's happening. Yes, we're coasting to the finish line, and we thought that by now we would know clearly who the next president of the U.S. is, but that's not yet happened. From all indications, it's a very, very, very close call. It's pretty tight, but our coverage will still continue, and at some point in time, we will update you, even if it's outside the America Decides studios. But for now, we're back here with our guests who are still very much with us here, and At this point, we'll begin to take your closing comments. And let's begin with Ambassador Fayomi. And yes, what can we take away from what's happened so far? And because of the factor of time, let's look at it from last night to this morning in terms of the presidential
Yes, it's, you know, right from before the studio even opened, we knew it was going to be a close call. We expected a tight race. So we are not disappointed in that for now. But then there are so many factors that could have contributed to the scenario we have now. It's been a long time in the U.S. election history that by now you don't have a winner.
All right.
You know, you should have, you know, not running to the very last vote, you know, as if we are in a football match or something. So, but all these factors that we have analyzed today, you know, in terms of the racism that is the element there, the sexism that is there, and the demagoguery here and there, you know, all of them contributed to what we have today, which is unprecedented, so to say. So I'm waiting to see exactly where this will lead. Eventually, it might be to the extent that there will be no clear winner. Nobody's going to get that 270 electoral votes, and that means for the first or second time now, it means it's going to now go to outside the norm that everybody has been seized with. It's quite a challenging election for both candidates, because by now I could imagine how nerve-wracking it will be for them. We are on edge here. Now imagine if you are the candidate, and as of this moment, you don't even know what to do. The champagne is on ice and all that, but nobody's drinking anything.
Nobody's drinking, yeah. All right, Professor Jibril Ibrahim.
I think we've had a fascinating evening. I think my key takeaway is that elections are about choices taken by citizens. They are never about analysts and pundits. And in so many elections, what the analysts predict is not what the people do. And I think whatever the outcome of this election is, we need to always bear in mind that that outcome is the choice made by the American people. And this election is an election about American interests. I think we've had an exciting debate because this is one American election that has a lot of implications for the American people, but even more important for the world. Clearly, this is an interesting election because this is the first election in American history in which the two candidates are both very unpopular. It tells you something about the political machine and the political system, that the key principle of democracy, which is that choice by the people brings out the most popular candidates. That is the fundamental principle of internal party democracy. And in our analysis, there was internal party democracy, but those who emerged are people who are deeply divisive for the American people and deeply unpopular among a majority of the American people. What this tells us is that it's an election that for decades, if not for centuries, will be analyzed as an election that posed fundamental question about what is the meaning of democracy. How can you have the two leading candidates in an election being both so unpopular among the people, and the people having been forced to make a choice on who is the one I hate the most, rather than the normal democratic choice, which is which candidate do I like the most. And I think moving forward, a lot of democracies are already posing similar questions, that our political processes, political structures, and political machines capable of producing expected outcomes, which is to bring out the most popular candidates. I think as we await for the final results, that reflection will continue to be one of the important lessons emanating from these elections. I think it's something that's very rich for my discipline, which is political science, and for the coming years, we'll continue to study and reflect on this election.
All right, Ambassador Joe Keshi.
Well, I can't agree more with Ambassador Fayemi and Prof, but I just want to add that Trump has shown that if you identify a constituency that you think you can mobilize, energize in any electoral system, that you can actually use that constituency to win. I think the lesson that leaders should begin to learn from what has happened in the United States, and in particular in a country like Nigeria also, is that if you allow this anger to grow and you did not address it, this is the consequences of what happens at the end of the day.
All right. Yes. Your final thoughts as we round off?
Well, I think today has been, it's been a long day, that's one. And it's been an intriguing evening or morning following the election. And I think in history, I think if based on what is the result, it holds true that none of the candidates reached the attainable 270, then there are other constitutional steps that will kick in. So in itself, it's a history. And, as my previous panelists have said, in terms of the two candidates, the unpopularity from both parties, and the way the election right now is, and also all the maneuver that have taken place during the campaign, and even in the last 2 or 3 weeks to the election, what has happened is unfortunate. And I think Prof students will have a very good case study.
Okay. All right. Mr. Chidi Wazirike, in briefly.
Yes, in a second. Very clearly, I agree. I share the sentiments of my colleagues. And let me say clearly that in the history of American elections, this is a true cliffhanger. We have not seen anything like this in a long time. But there's no question that the lesson we, from this part of the world with a maturing new democracy, can take away is that democracies do work. They're about the choices of people. So long as the elections are free and fair and properly conducted, that's pretty much what it is. The people have voted, and that's where we stay. I will say very clearly that for those who are distressed, like actually some of us, the tone and so on, well, sometimes it happens. Oftentimes it's more civil than this, but that I don't want us to learn. I think that we ought to calm down our own politicians in terms of their vulgarity. But as he said, the constitutional process will now kick in as they continue. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. And well, that's it. We've been America Decides Studios, the NTA network, and we've brought you the various views from our analysts and from our correspondents. And like we said at the start of it, we'd hope that by now we would be checking in on who has started popping the champagne. But like Ambassador Fayobi said, it's still too close to call. No one yet has popped the champagne. But we here, we have to leave this broadcast at this point. And we'd like to take our time to say a big thank you to all our guests here in the headquarters studio of the NTA. I'd like to say thank you very much to Professor Chudi Wazirike. It's been interesting having you. All right. To Malam Abdullahi Alhaji Dauda, we also say thank you very much for spending your night with us here. Ambassador Joe Keshi, it's always a delight for you to join us.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you to NTA too for doing this to enlighten Nigerians.
All right.
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, a big thank you to you. It's good to have you share your thoughts with us here.
Always a pleasure.
All right. And Ambassador Akin Fayomi, we thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We hope the all night wasn't too much of a strain for our guests here. Keeping in touch.
If you had won, it wouldn't be so.
Well, and to all our viewers, we thank you for watching, and this is where we must leave it and say good morning. I am Cyril Stover. Bye for now.
You are watching